it's nice to say things,
Yeah.
make the effort, people
My brother.
appreciate it.
Our animals, that's the view from one of the views from our house. It was winter then, misty. I'm Claire Marsh and I come from Australia, Adelaide. I had a spinal cord injury 3 years ago, and the doctors have said that I will have no more recovery. So I decided to try out the stem cell thing because they don't offer it in Australia. And this seemed like the safest option for my situation. I was on a boat. The driver was driving too fast across the bay. It was in the sea, and a big wave came along and we went over the wave too quickly. The boat became airborne and I was sitting in the front. And as the boat came down and I kind of went up, and then as the boat came back up, I came back down. So it crushed my vertebra at L1. Immediately I couldn't feel or move anything from my waist down, so I knew there was something very wrong. I was in a rehabilitation centre for 5.5 months, and that was intensive physiotherapy every day, twice a day, and hydrotherapy, and things like that. And that's where I, learnt to walk slowly from the walking frame to eventually the sticks. And then I didn't do anything really after that, and I started going backwards a bit. So over the last year, I have been doing physiotherapy 3 times a week, again with a neurophysio at home. Well, almost immediately after my accident, you see things on the news all the time. So, it's always been in the back of our minds, and we've always been asking the doctors, oh, when do you think they'll be doing anything in Australia, like trials or anything? And they're always, oh, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, something like that. And for the last 3 years, it's been, 5 to 10 years. So eventually I just got sick of it, and I went online and really looked into it, to the actual places that do it and what they do, and contacted all of them and got information. And this one seemed to be the most responsive, and they just were very forthcoming with information and assigned me a person to talk to immediately. And so I felt very, safe talking to them and asking any questions and stuff. They sent me a whole pile of information which I read through, and it covered a lot of my questions anyway, but I think my first question was whether anyone had ever gone backwards from the treatment, because I've worked very hard to get to where I am, and I had heard that some of the embryonic stem cell treatments had caused tumours or cysts or cancers in the spine, which I obviously didn't want to happen. So I was a bit wary of those treatments. So yeah, my first questions were definitely whether anyone had ever lost function from the treatment, which they hadn't. So that was a big, go ahead with it sign for me. That was my main fear. They wouldn't comment. They didn't say don't do it, it's a bad idea, but they weren't really willing to sort of make any comment about it at all. So I'm not sure what that'll be like when I get back. One of my doctors was happy to look over the information, and she said that the only worry she would have would be blood-borne diseases, which I knew that they tested the cord blood like 3 or 4 times before they injected anyway. So movement-wise, I know that I have had nothing, like absolutely no movement below my knees for 3 years. Strength-wise, above my knees, I have a fair bit of paralysed muscle there, but it's kind of hard to tell because, some is just very weak. before I left home, I had a full muscle strength chart and sensation chart, and like an endurance test done. So I sort of have some numbers to work with as a baseline for when I get back. But it'll be a bit hard to sort of know what's been the physio and what has been the treatment, unless it's something that totally new that's come back, like bowel or bladder or something below my knees. Even from all the things I'd seen on the news and stuff, some people have had some absolutely amazing results, but nobody has as yet been absolutely cured. And so I wasn't expecting that. I've been trying to keep my expectations fairly low because I don't want to be disappointed, but from what I have read on the website and seen just from the patients here at the moment, the recovery is pretty amazing. Well, I was hoping for any recovery really, mainly sort of bowel and bladder, because I can walk with leg splints and 2 sticks. But I figured that I'm young and my injury is incomplete. So I figured that now is the best time to try it, rather than in 20 years when they finally start doing something in Australia. It was kind of a bit of a rush because we left just after New Year's. But I suppose I've been pretty prepared because I organised it almost 6 months in advance. But yeah, mainly just going to my doctor and getting enough medication and things like that to sustain myself for 42 days, which is a lot of medication for me. Yeah. I'm very close with my mum and my dad and my brother, and I knew that one of them would come with me. So yeah, it would be very difficult, I would think, to be here on your own. I mean, yeah, just with the language barrier and physical barriers and stuff as well. So, well, I'm here for 42 days and I'm having eight injections in that time. They were all going to be umbilical blood stem cell injections, but they've recommended that I do 1 lot of bone marrow injections, just because I'm totally healthy except for my injury, and I'm at a good age apparently to harvest the stem cells. So 3 of my injections will now be the bone marrow ones. Every day I have physio and twice a day and acupuncture and the electric wave therapy, which they don't do anything like that in Australia, so I was happy that they do the acupuncture and stuff here.